They said it would never happen again. They said it would never happen again. We are happy that you are here today to witness the United Nations Genocide Convention of 1948. We state that we are here to maintain international peace and security, and to that end to take effective collective measures for the prevention and removal of threats to the peace. Genocide is a crime under international law, contrary to the spirit and aims of the United Nations and condemned by the civilized world. We recognize that at all periods of history, genocide has inflicted great losses on humanity, and we are convinced that in order to liberate mankind from such abhorrent behavior, international cooperation is required. As contracting parties, we confirm that genocide, whether committed in time of peace or in time of war, is a crime under international law, which we will all undertake to prevent and to punish. (1989) the Soviet Union collapses. 1992, the multi-ethnic Yugoslavia starts to break. Slovenia succeeds, Croatia succeeds, Serbia succeeds, Macedonia succeeds, leaving a multi-ethnic Bosnia. February 1992, the war for Greater Serbia begins. I was 19 at the time, doing all the usual stuff, listening to The Clash, U2, caring about my Levi's and Converse. In 1 week, the whole thing changed, although I was still in the same Converse. We were all quite oblivious to everything that was going to hit later on. You have to understand that for 500 years, we all lived in the same place, Serbs, Croats, Bosniaks. We never thought the war would hit us. We were a peaceful neighborhood like anywhere else. It first started with the Serbian military building roads around Sarajevo. We thought, yes, they're actually going to help the farmers gain access to other areas. Then the shelling started. I lived on the 10th floor in a block of flats. Us young guys would sit in the corridor, it was the safest place, and play cards. I had a Bosnian Serbian friend I'd known since I was a child. He used to come and sleep at my place on the floor to avoid the snipers. The threat at first was external. It was the outside Serbian army. We never believed that the Bosnian Serbs, our school friends, our teachers, our greengrocers, our shoulder-to-shoulder neighbors would all join to try to wipe us, as if a Muslim name was a dirty stain. A couple of weeks later, and I'm in the same corridor, only it's empty, bar me and 2 other Bosniaks. The same Serbian friend that we shared cartoons, chat-up lines, and football with vanished into Serbian territory, without a whisper, a goodbye, a take care. I had no choice. I too had to join the war. I had no military training. I didn't know how to use a rifle. I got an AK-47 and 3 bullets. Yes, war is when enough of us collectively choose hell. War is never a solution. After only 2 weeks of fighting, I already wanted it to finish. There was so much confusion. Lost water, no gas, no heating, constant shooting, constant shelling. A single day took us back 2 centuries. 1992. United Nations General Assembly in a preamble state. Gravely concerned about the deterioration of the situation in the Republic of Bosnia, owing to intensified aggressive acts by the Serbian and Montenegrin forces to acquire more territories by force, characterized by a consistent pattern of gross and systematic violations of human rights, a bulging refugee population, resulting from mass expulsions of defenseless civilians from their homes and the existence of concentration camps and detention centers in pursuit of ethnic cleansing. They tried to kill us but couldn't kill the spirit. In 1993, I signed up to the university. I started studying criminology. It went like this. You met the professor. He gave you the books, and when you were ready, you go back to sit the exam. You wouldn't see the same professor's face again. Body after lifeless body. April 1993. The United Nations declared the besieged enclave of Srebrenica a safe area under UN protection. Blue helmets, white tanks. I remember when they said it. You are under the protection of the UN. We will not let you down. I was there as a teenager. I was a 14-year-old refugee in Srebrenica. We escaped from the village. We came seeking Karoo protection. I lived in the camp. We didn't have shoes or boots, but we were happy. We were all there. My brother, my cousin, my family. May 1993. A UN report from the Security Council warned specifically of a potential massacre in which there could be up to 25,000 victims if Serb forces were to enter Srebrenica. Its fears were justified. Military commander promised the Bosnian Serbian Assembly that if his army entered, there would be blood up to the knees. 1995. The US state describes the protected zones of Srebrenica as untenable after Serbian military capture 400 UN Dutch-backed soldiers. The US, the UK, and France called for the soldiers to be released and agreed that troops are too vulnerable in the Srebrenica safe areas and should be withdrawn. 1995. The UN military monitor in Srebrenica reported to peacekeeping headquarters that the Bosnian Serb colonel is insisting on trying to find out what would be the reaction of the UN if the Bosnian Serb army would capture the enclave and expel the population. Literally, all the people living inside that enclave. 1995. A CIA memo, since disclassified, described the eastern safe area of Srebrenica as fish bones in the throat of the Serbs. 1995. The UN troops abandon camp at Karoo, Srebrenica. They leave the enclave and gift Serbian militaries with 10,000 tons of petrol. Srebrenica is the name of a town synonymous with the conflict that devastated the former Yugoslavia in the 1990s. It is a name that conjures up images of families being torn apart, or people forced into buses with an unknown destination, of terrified, blindfolded men being led to their deaths, killed solely on the basis of their identity, and of the grieving mothers, wives, sisters, and daughters left behind. I remember my son. He had green eyes, tall like his father. The camp was broken. Trucks everywhere. We were walking together and they shouted, "Men over there." I screamed and put my arms over him. "He's only a child." They grabbed us. He fell. They started dragging him away. He started crying only at the point when he realized that I could no longer protect him. The mass executions followed a well-established pattern. The men were first taken to empty schools or warehouses. After being detained there for some hours, they were loaded onto buses or trucks and taken to another site for execution. Usually the execution fields were in isolated locations. The prisoners were unarmed, and in many cases, steps had been taken to minimize resistance, such as blindfolding them, binding their wrists behind their backs, or removing their shoes. Once at the killing fields, the men were taken off the trucks in small groups, lined up and shot. I remember when they said it. "You are under the protection of the UN. We will not let you down." I was there as a teenager. I was a 14-year-old refugee in Srebrenica. When the camp fell, we started running to the woods. In the forest, we didn't know where to run. The Dutch soldiers, they just left us. We told them, "Don't go, don't leave us." Together with my father, we escaped. I managed to take a small bag of family photos. Everything was a mess, thousands of people everywhere. In the chaos, I lost him. I tried to call out to him. I didn't know anyone. Everyone was just trying to save themselves. I was even begging people to hold my hand. We were walking for days with no food, no water. There was shooting, snipers, the army was tracking us. My biggest fear was to be wounded, not being killed, but left there and wounded. After a week, it felt like we couldn't walk anymore. Then they started shouting that we were surrounded, "Come out, they would not kill us." We were beyond hunger, thirst, and despair. We came out. There was a big clearing. I recognized some people, some school friends. We were all put into trucks. One soldier even gave us a lecture. He told us that we were going to some warehouse and that we were going to have a big dinner. He was laughing, of course. Before we got out the trucks, he made us shout, "Long live the king, long live Serbia." It was night. They ordered us out of the truck and got us to stand in a row. Told us that we were going to register with the Red Cross, but that was another lie. The earth was hot and sticky with blood. They put us in a building of an old school. I saw my uncle there. For hours, we heard the automatic rifles shooting. The next day, we were put in the truck again. That's the thing, it wasn't just hate, it was so systematic. The doors of the truck open, out. As soon as the bare feet left the van, rifles spat their bullets out. Everyone trying to shuffle further back, no escape, out. Bullets, bullets, hissing. Guy next to me has untied his hands, asked me if I want mine untied too. No point. Where next? He leaps out and the bullets pour even heavier on him. I step out into shooting air. Sharp shrapnel hits my shoulder. I fall on piles of mounted flesh. Another bullet hits my side. Bodies fall on top of me. I hear them shout, "Anyone still alive?" and shooting sporadically. I want to tell them so that they can end this, but something keeps me silent. 2005, the United Nations described the mass murder as the worst crime on European soil since the Second World War. In a message to the 10th anniversary commemoration of the massacre, the UN write that, while blame lay first and foremost with those who planned and carried out the massacre and those who assisted and harbored them, we did indeed make some serious errors of judgment. I look at you and see my children. All of you. You look so beautiful. Why don't you come and live with me in Srebrenica, huh? Rashad, come and get them a mat, please. Sit. Yes, sit down, make yourself comfy. Let me tell you. Trust can be built over years and lost in a second. All of you. Appreciate peace if you have peace. Hate is such a potent thing. We let it bubble under the surface and do not talk about it. And it's the same everywhere. Tensions lay under the water's surface. I want you to take back this message to your country. There can only be love. Yes, our families, our children, our husbands are gone. I pray to God just to find only one bone of my youngest son. I stand here in this town where I once held the hands of my children. I stand here now as the people that committed these crimes hold positions in both social and political institutions. You know, for the crime of over 8,000 deaths, only 15 people got put in prison. The rest are here walking about. Out of those 15, some got 5 years, some got 18 years. Where do you think they come when they are released? But I do not hate them. No, hate is what made this. I am telling you now, there can only be love. Each one of you, when you go to your country and show them what hate does. Show them the list of missing names. Get them to feel the weight of the catalogues of dug up clothes. Nor is this a past event. This is happening all over again, all over the world. Every day I pray for the people, the families of Syria, the people in civil conflict. Every day I pray for them, for we are them. We are a small people, but we can still raise our voice. For this is not just our sorrow, this is also the shame of the world. The whole world watched this happen, and the whole world lets this happen over and over again. And this is not just people from a faraway land killing each other. This is your governments, your armies, funding and supporting them. These are your weapons, your conquests, your wants for territorial power, your prescriptions to ethnic and national identity. You're us against them. Your enemy. You're following hate. And it's down to your love if you ever want anything to change.